Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. I couldn't resist. I missed the beginning of quarantine when we had Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin. So, hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today as we talk about all of the live feeds, spoilers, everything coming to you hot piping tea from all things Big Brother. So, Kylie and I are here to spill it all today. If you are wanting to stay spoiler free this season, then you will need to catch us after the episode. But even if you don't watch, you can drop comments on things you are interested in, and we'll comment back to you and let you know what's going on if you're just wanting bits and pieces. So drop us with a comment. Drop us with a comment as we go live today, and we'll answer those, pop them up on the screen, give you a shout out. Answer your questions. Don't forget to hit us with a thumbs up and a like. And I'm sorry, a thumbs up is a like. A subscribe on the YouTube channel. All right, Kylie. So yesterday we had Jessica on to talk about all of the latest things that were happening in Big Brother. We got some great context from her on some of the behind the scenes talk. So that was fun. But we had a lot happening on the feeds last night. And so what's going on?
So yesterday we did have the veto ceremony. We talked about this a little bit on the show yesterday, in that we expect Christmas to be the renom, and she was kind of resisting a little bit. We had high hopes that Enzo would make a move and go after Dani, but we don't get that. We get the renom, and it is Christmas. So that's where we're at in the house. Kaser versus Christmas.
Yeah, so Kevin, of course, uses the power of veto on himself. I don't know if anyone was thinking that he wouldn't. That would be maybe the dumbest move in Big Brother history. And Christmas goes up, and Christmas definitely had some cold feet before she went on. That's what George thinks of that. Christmas had some cold feet before Enzo had a lot of conversations with her. I know yesterday we talked about how she wasn't really wanting to go up because she was kind of scared. Always volunteering as a pawn is scary, but Enzo felt like she owed him for keeping him safe. So I just wonder if Davonne would have gone up if he ended up keeping her safe. Like, is it the vibe? I get a weird vibe from Enzo as we watch the feeds where he's like saying, "Well, Christmas is in debt to me," but also he really trusts Christmas. Like, I feel like Christmas is Enzo's actual number one.
Yeah, they do have a really good relationship. But Enzo is in the mindset of, the guys are doing all the hard work by winning the comps, and so these girls, they need to do their part. And Christmas is it's her turn. She's taking one for the team. And Enzo talks such a big game about wanting to make a big move and this being his HOH, but he really just got pissed and over people telling him what to do. And so he just went with the easiest option by putting her up. And that's
And
where
we
we're
feel confident that Kaser's going to go over Christmas. As of
for sure.
today, Kaser's definitely going to go over Christmas. Christmas doesn't really have any enemies in the house. She is actually playing a really good game so far. There's no reason for her to go at this point. She's not really a target. Enzo does talk to Enzo comes to Kaser and is like, "How do you feel about the replacement, Mom?" Which I'm like, "What? Why would you ask him this?"
Yeah. And
So
Kater's like, well, I would have liked for it to have been David. Why didn't you choose David? He's the only one I would have had a chance against.
like,
And
now you give a shit about my opinion of the replacement,
right,
Mom?
and Enzo's
Okay.
like, well, David's my boy, so I'm not going to put him up, yo. And
I
that
do want
pretty
to
much ends
pop.
that conversation.
I do want to pop this comment up on the screen really quick. We're not Russell, and Russell, I don't know if he's in the chat, but I do want to give Medea from Scratch a shout out because it's an amazing Mexican restaurant in the Dallas area. There's one in Plano. They have the best guacamole. So if y'all want to sponsor us, or if you're in the Dallas area, go to Medea from Scratch because it's really bomb. All right, so back to all things Big Brother. So yeah, Kaser at this point does not give a crap what Enzo is saying to him because it doesn't really matter. We also saw a few days ago on the feeds, and we didn't get to mention this, but we'll see in the episode tomorrow. The veto competition happened, and Memphis gets injured in that competition.
Yeah, so Memphis was hosting the poison ivy competition, and somehow he picked something up and he injured himself. And so we've got Memphis hobbling around like an old man. I mean, they've already been calling him grandpa in the house, and now he's truly acting like it. Like he's been laid up on the floor, having to have ice packs and heat, and he needs like a massage. So we're not real sure how Memphis is going to be able to do in competitions for the rest of the season.
Is he faking this
No,
to
I
get to?
don't
Is he
think.
pulling the Christmas strategy?
Yeah, he's pulling the Christmas strategy, just going to have everyone pull him to the end, throw some comps his way. But no, I think that he's really injured, and it'll be interesting to see if the Alliance looks at him as a hindrance because he isn't going to be able to compete in anything physical, or if he's going to recover and be okay. We'll see.
In the triangle of reasons you keep people in this house, or think of them as a threat, which being physical, social, or meat shield. So far, Enzo's down physical. Obviously, he's deaf. So yeah, Memphis. Sorry, I keep saying Enzo. And he is down socially because he is just being a douchebag to everybody.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, Memphis, not in a great spot. We also see Tyler's kind of digging himself a little bit of a hole because he is being recognized as a target in the house.
Yeah, we get a lot of interesting talk yesterday and the day before with Tyler really pushing Dani as the backdoor option. And really, they're supposed to be in this committee alliance together, but Tyler is pushing her hard to Enzo. And then Tyler even goes to Davonne and is telling Davonne that Dani has had her mouth, Davonne's name in her mouth, and that she can go and fact check this with Cody and Enzo. And you're seeing like Tyler running circles around these people playing the game. But Enzo is like talking to Cody and he's saying, it's not a big deal, man. Like, Tyler's got our back and we got to get Davonne and Dani out. These are the two big targets. And Cody's like, wait a second. I don't like that he's saying my name with this because now if Dani comes to me, then I'm in a bad position. So Cody is kind of like, hold up, this may not be good for me. And we're really seeing Cody being stuck between the Slick Six and the committee. And he's going to be in an interesting position, and it's going to be interesting to see if he's able to play himself out of it.
Yeah, we might see the Slick Six fall apart a little bit quicker than expected because
And the committee. This spells good news for a shakeup because if it gets back to Dani, and it's going to, she's going to flip out.
Yeah, and Enzo talks about the house is ready to explode. Enzo tells David that the house is going to explode soon, and he admitted that he is going to because he can no longer take the fakeness. So he is ready to explode. Now, I don't know how much of this conversation I actually trust with Enzo because he's a liar. He won. He told we're at strike 3 right now because strike 1 was him telling David that David was now impressing the house because he got second place in veto. We know that's a lie. 2, he lied about he was going to make a big move as a HOH. Another lie. He did not, you got Kaser out, the target of the whole house. Okay, what a big move. When he really could have gotten Dani out, he had an opportunity to really make a big move. But anyway, and here we are. And he's telling David, he's having this conversation with him, telling him that he's tired of the fakeness, and that he tells David that Kaser was wanting David up on the block. And really, he is kind of starting some drama unnecessarily, but he's also complaining about the girls and all of this. So Enzo is foreshadowing that the house is soon going to explode, which we would agree with that, but it's not going to be because of any moves Enzo makes.
Right. Enzo's going to come out of it in a good position, which is fine for him. I think that the ones that are most going to be harmed by this is Dani, Tyler, and Cody. But especially, I feel like it's setting up for Dani and Tyler to maybe have some issues because they're going to be going head to head. And honestly, I think strategically, they're two of the best people left in the game by far. So to see these two that had been loosely working together maybe come to head, this could actually be exciting, guys. Like, yay, something might happen to change up the game.
Yeah. And then we see Cody and Enzo want to meet up with Tyler to get back on track. And they really, this core three, they have an alliance name? Enzo, Cody, Tyler?
Brigade 2.0.
Okay, we'll call it that. They haven't officially named their alliance, but these three really do talk a lot, and they seem to really have each other's back. Enzo tells them that his eviction order is Dani, Davonne, and Nicole, which I thought this was an interesting conversation because just in this week, Dani has moved in front of Davonne.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Dani is definitely in trouble with pretty much everyone in the house. They're all figuring out what she's doing. But it'll be interesting to see because we know, especially Cody, is close with Nicole and Dani. And so I think Cody's in the most interesting position right now.
Yeah, Cody does tell Enzo that he would rather Davonne go before Dani, but they both agree that they want Davonne to go before Bayleigh because they feel like Bayleigh can be an asset to them if Davonne is out of the house. So the HOH next week is really going to be interesting, even if one of these Cody has his fifth HOH, because it will really show us and the house where that alliance truly lies, especially if Dani goes up.
Yeah, they've gotten themselves into a bit of a predicament because they all are in an alliance. You know, like we've got all of these alliances that are like one person different. And we see yesterday Cody tells Enzo about the committee alliance. So Enzo's not in that first 6 alliance, but he now knows about it. And so they've kind of gotten out almost everybody to get out that isn't in that group, and now they're going to have to start turning on each other. So, depending on who wins HOH and if they're actually willing to make a big move, we can see some interesting things happen.
Yeah. So, speaking of Dani really stirring the pot and she is really digging herself into a place that's going to be hard for her to get out of. She tells Nicole about the Slick Six. So we saw in the episode that she really trusts Nicole and Nicole really trusts her. And it appears that's really where Dani's loyalty lies. And Dani tells Nicole about the Slick Six, which raises a lot of red flags for everyone that's in the Slick Six. And they're pretty pissed at Dani for doing this.
Yeah.
And that's really where not only were they not trusting her already, but this just really put the final sprinkles on the cupcake of Dani being a target next week.
Yeah. We also get a conversation with Christmas and Enzo where Christmas brings up that Janelle had mentioned that Dani tried to get an alliance in the first week with Janelle and Kaser, and that Janelle and Kaser said no, mostly because Nicole Franzel was in that alliance. And this really has Dani like, oh shit, like I'm really getting caught up in some stuff because now they're bringing her back to being associated with Janelle and Kaser, where this whole time, it had seemed like she was against them, but in reality, she was trying to work with them and keep it from the other alliance. So this is
I really feel
scenario.
like Dani made that was like Dani's number one first mistake.
Yeah.
Was not like we talked about with Jessica yesterday. Jessica made a great point in saying that Dani should have played both sides. She shouldn't have drawn that line week 1 and said, no, Janelle, I'm not working with you. Bad mouthing Janelle, spreading rumors about Janelle throughout the house with Nicole, she should have played both sides. And even if she told Nicole, like, this is what I'm going to do, my loyalty lies with you, or whatever she needed to do to prove that trust to Nicole, if that really was where her loyalty lied, I think it was very stupid of her that wasn't a good game move for her.
Yeah. We do, like, we talked about that Tyler and Davonne reconnect and are making sure, reassuring each other that they are working with each other and have each other's backs. And this is where we have Tyler telling Davonne about Dani. And he tells Enzo, like, heads up, if Davonne asks you about this, say yes, that you heard Dani saying her name because I told her that you and Cody did. And Enzo's okay with it. Enzo's like, okay, yeah, man, that sounds like a great plan. I got you. And we do get Davonne going to fact check and talking with him.
Davonne goes straight. It's like, y'all, it's like these people don't even need a wall yeller at this point, because Davonne goes straight to Enzo and is like, hey, so, what happened with that conversation, about Dani? And luckily Tyler had already briefed his boy Enzo, yo, and gave him all the deets. So they were able to keep their story straight.
Yeah, and so they're just talking that they've got the numbers to turn on Dani when the time's right. And Enzo's very big on, oh, well, we don't want to do it too soon. We don't want to do it too soon. We don't want to implode our numbers, but the Slick Six is done. And so,
yeah,
there's trouble.
There's definitely trouble. And y'all, again, they don't need a wall yeller because Davonne is having dreams.
Yes.
Davonne has a dream, and she tells Dani about her dream. So Davonne has a dream that Dani is trying to convince the guy that's in the house, to get Davonne out. And so Davonne tells Dani about this. And so Dani says, oh, is it like one of those dreams where, your man cheats on you and you wake up pissed? And Dani's like, well, what guy was it? And I feel like that's kind of a red flag anyway, but
like,
either
oh
way,
gosh.
Davonne says she doesn't remember which guy it was. And then Davonne goes to tell Bayleigh that she has a dream about Dani telling a guy it wasn't Tyler, but to tell him that she needs Davonne out of the house. And Davonne said it was a very vivid dream. So it's like, literally, y'all, the stars are aligning. Dani might go next week.
Yeah, she's definitely in trouble. So, Davonne has had a vision. The Lord is speaking to her.
Caitlin Herman is haunting and bringing on the visions to Davonne this week.
After
go ahead. I was just going to say, on the POV ceremony, Bayleigh is suspect of Christmas and Enzo. Mm-hmm. So I've nicknamed them, me and Kylie have nicknamed them the Star Baby Alliance, because they don't have a name yet, and we think that since there's a Tickle Monster Alliance,
they're part of the Tickle Monster.
we're going to name these two, Christmas and Enzo, are the Star Baby Alliance, because that's her Star Baby daddy.
Yeah. And there's going to be an interesting gif of Bayleigh. I've already seen it a few times, but she asked Christmas, like, did you suspect that you were going up? And Christmas is like, no, I didn't. And Bayleigh is, and then she even drops her face, and then she drops her jaw even further, like, girl, I know that you're lying.
I know you know.
So Bayleigh is on to the fact that Christmas and Enzo are working together, and that Christmas knew that she was going to be the pawn, even though she's telling people that she didn't know. So this is making Bayleigh really doubt her.
Yeah. So way to go, Christmas. Bayleigh is suspect. All right, so on to my favorite topic, Davonnid. I'm still, as dumb as David is in this game, I still am shipping this relationship outside of the house. Not really. I don't think they would actually survive outside of the house,
No,
and
I don't think
they
so either.
can't survive on strategy talk. But anyways, um, Davonne wants to clear the air in regards to the Cody Tyler situation that happened last week, and Davonne said that Tyler brought it up to her and that she respected his wishes in terms of only fact checking with Janelle what David said. Um, and she said that once Tyler brought it up, she went to Cody, who told him that David said he was worried about a guy's alliance. And Davonne reminded David that he told her he was involved in a guy's alliance and didn't blow that up, even though she was hurt by David saying that to Cody.
Yeah.
And the two agreed that they would not target each other going forward. So we kind of see this relationship mend a little bit, which is good, especially for probably Davonne, because she is on some people's radar right now.
Yeah. We get a really good conversation with Kaser and Davonne, where Kaser is like, there is this core four, and he even calls them the core four. Like,
I know it's freaky,
he does
y'all. We're
not
telling
know
you, they don't
he
need
does not
blowing
know how
nowhere.
spot on he is, but he says that there's this core four of Dani, Cody, Tyler, and Nicole. And I mean, this conversation has me shook. And he's telling Davonne, like, you've got to get it figured out because I'm gone, and y'all got to find a way to break this up. And he adds that he thinks that the core four is using Enzo, and this is true. Although we know that there are also some cracks in this alliance because of Tyler suspecting Dani, but Kaser is spot on. And we also see that Ian and Kevin have this same conversation, except Ian is taking the information from the wall yeller. And in case y'all missed that yesterday, we'll play the clip for you again. We did have a wall yeller letting the house.
So it's kind of hard to hear because from the audio that from inside the house. But the wall yeller, like we said yesterday, says that Nicole and Cody are playing everyone. Isn't that what they say? I get it
Yeah.
wrong every time.
Yeah, Cody and Nicole are playing everyone. So we see an interesting conversation with Ian and Kevin where Ian has an epiphany and he realizes, oh my gosh, Cody and Nicole are like the head, and then he's comparing it to an octopus, and he's like, and there's all these different arms. You know, they've got Tyler and they've got Dani and they've got Enzo, and Nicole has me, and so they're being protected by all the different sides. And this is something that Derek set up pregame. So Ian is, I mean, holy shit, guys, it took 4 weeks. This is what Kaser and Janelle have been telling y'all since week one, but they're finally figuring it out that yes, this is where everything originates, from these two and this core alliance. So Ian's figuring it out. He's telling Kevin, which I don't think is ever good to do because Kevin is going to spill the information as soon as it is best for him. But Ian is onto it, and Ian is realizing that he might be in a little bit of trouble. You know, he wanted this plan of laying back, not winning any comps for the first few weeks, but he's realizing now, like, he may have laid back too much because he's definitely on the outskirts.
Yeah. He talks about that he would actually nominate Nicole if he wins HOH, which
Yeah.
woo! That's good to hear. That's good to hear for us viewers. It'll be interesting if Ian wins that HOH. And Kevin says that he wants that octopus to be weakened. So
Yeah.
but this will be interesting. Looks like we're heading into a very entertaining week, y'all.
Which is good. Things might
Yeah.
get mixed up a little bit. We have
Yeah.
a question over here from Ed. He says, who on the other side wins the first HOH? Do they ever? I mean, statistically, you would think that they would have to win one, but I don't know.
So far, we're not on
I
a
mean,
good track record
we
here.
know that Ian has the potential to win comps. I think Bayleigh is athletic enough that she can win comps. And we have seen Kevin win his veto, and he almost won the first veto whenever he was on the block the first time if he wouldn't have run out of time. So, I think there's a possibility that we can see Kevin win something, but it's just a matter of what they're going to do with it, or if they're going to try to play safe and not take a shot. So
yeah, I feel like we know, like, Davonne would definitely take a shot. Bayleigh would take a shot at Dani. She already has drawn a line with Dani. I feel like Bayleigh has no problem putting Dani up. So I'm not gonna say we're putting it in the universe, because nothing me and Kylie ever put into the universe works. So we're not putting into the universe that Davonne or Bayleigh wins HOH this week.
But gosh, it's got to be somebody else.
Ian does say that he talks to Nicole, and he says, would you throw the next HOH to me if it came down to the two of them? And I thought this is a very interesting conversation, because at this point, Ian already had the ideas that, he's already kind of seeing the side that Nicole is actually on, and that she's the head of the octopus. So Nicole asked Ian what his plan would be, and he said, I'll do whatever you want.
Whatever you want. Not.
And y'all, I'm like, I'm here for this. I'm here. I cannot, like, I think no matter what, this upcoming week is going to be really good. A lot of things. The house has really been shook up this week. Enzo didn't make any big moves, but it's shown a lot of people's cards this week.
Right. We're just going to have to enjoy these last couple days with Kaser in the house. We do see Christmas campaigning a little bit. Like, she campaigns to Memphis, and Memphis is like, why are you even campaigning to me? We're in the committee together. You already have 5 votes. Like, it doesn't even matter. You're safe. So Christmas is going to make her rounds a little bit, make sure she is good, but it's pretty well sealed that Kaser is going out. So we just need to enjoy these last couple days with Kaser. It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. And, just
That's your
look
sign
forward.
off.
Yeah, just look forward to something has to happen next week. Something good. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's on the horizon.
The only thing that might be kind of bad, if we're going off of conversations that are happening this week, is if Cody really does win HOH, because he mentioned to Enzo that that he felt like them two were in a good spot with the combination of Dani and Davonne and Tyler messing things up. But he feels like those two they are in a good spot outside of that still. But he said from now on, he's playing dumb. So he's going to pull a David. He's just going to play dumb. And Enzo agrees. The girls are talking too much. But if them two just lay low, they'll be safe. That's their thought on it. So Enzo can't win HOH next week, but Cody can. And let's hope that Cody doesn't win.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to say Cody does. Let's hope Cody does win, because whatever we want never happens. We're playing the opposite game. Yes.
We also have this comment from Bill. It says, do you guys think the wall yeller said way more than we heard? Ian's theory was so right, which shows the possibility of the yeller saying other things is real. Yeah, I mean, Ian obviously is spot on. I mean, he knows that it's Cody and Nicole. We're going to assume he got that from the wall yeller, and he does bring up that Derek pregame. So the feeds were down for so long after the wall yeller, there is a chance that they said more. So I don't know. That'll be something interesting to see when the season's over, if that impacted his thinking any, or if he did just have an epiphany. I don't know.
Yeah, I also love this comment from Bill. Nicole throwing it to Ian and him putting her up would be great TV. We agree.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what, at the end of the day, anytime Nicole goes up, it's going to be great. But if Ian is the one to do it, especially after the comments that she's made saying that, he's pretty much her puppet. Watch out, y'all. She's a new puppet master. And Ian realizing that, y'all, this is going to be so good.
Right. Just as entertaining as Denise idling out Sandra. It will be great.
So good. So that brings us to our tweet of the day. And I feel like we could have probably an hour's worth of conversation on all the things happening, specifically with this tweet, among many others. So let me pop up our tweet of the day.
Tweet.
And we are sorry for the overload. Actually, we're not sorry for the overload of all things Janelle. So we get an awesome tweet. If you haven't seen this tweet, where have you been hiding? Because it is a tweet heard around the world at this point.
Yeah,
from
we
Janelle.
have a lot of people tagging us in this and letting us know that we needed to see this.
Yeah, wanting this to be our tweet of the day. So keep up with the tags, everyone, and we will get your votes in for what you think should be the tweet of the day. This one won by a landslide. Just received my invite. $3,000 for a hotel. So Nicole's reception hotel stay can be basically comped. Glad I don't have to go. I hate cheap ass weddings where the go-to song is Cotton Eye Joe.
Mic drop. Damn.
Burn.
And what's so great is that she's holding this up with her $5,000 Chanel bag in the background, like just letting
her marble
you know,
granite countertop.
Yeah, just letting you know this would be pocket change for me, but I'm not coming to your wedding anyways, you cheap ass bitch. Like, pay for your own stuff. Don't get your guests to pay for it yourself.
Yes. Janelle really Janelle has been roasting everything Nicole related and kind of Dani related too, but Janelle is straight savage on Twitter right now. Twitter, TikTok, all of the social media. We also saw that she was pretty happy that Cardi B retweeted her. And Janelle, that's how we would feel if you retweeted us. So we totally get it. Queen stands queen.
Brett Larkin asks, who spent $3K, Janelle? So basically what the situation is whenever you have a destination wedding, you try to get your guests some good deals on flights and hotels so that they're not spending an astronomical amount of money to come to your wedding. And typically, if you're having a destination wedding, a lot of times the bride and groom pay for it because it's not feasible for everyone to come and spend this much money to come to your wedding. So they're getting married in Turks and Caicos, and Janelle got her invitation once she got out of the house, and it would cost $3,000, and she said that did not include airfare. So basically, they're offloading the cost of their reception onto their guests by not giving them a cheaper rate. And so Janelle's just calling Nicole out for being a cheap ass.
Yeah, and I tweeted out, I think a few times yesterday that I want to know who is invited to this wedding and who is going, who is paying this crazy dollar amount to go to Nicole Franzel and Victor's wedding. Like I need to know. So if y'all could tag us in people that you see invited to this wedding or people you think, just hit us with or drop us comments on who you think is definitely going to this wedding so we can do some investigation because I need the answers.
Yeah, that's insane.
Too much.
If you're not following Janelle, I mean, y'all, we could show you so many tweets just from Janelle. She's absolutely killing this girl on the outside of the house and completely dragging her. So if you're not following Janelle, you're missing out.
Yeah, there are so many.
Go look her up.
She like replies to a tweet and she's like, I could buy her whole damn trailer in Ubly, Michigan with $3,000. Like, what? It's so good. All right, guys. Well, that brings us to the end of our show today. Thanks, everyone who joined us live. If you are joining us afterwards, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This will give you notifications when we go live every day. Hit us with the likes. Hit us with your feedback on our show, but also the Big Brother feeds. Tell us what you're thinking, what you're seeing on Twitter. Don't forget to tag us. Our Instagram and Twitter handles are the same. Instagram and Twitter at RealiTEA_TRHS. That's RealiTEA_TRHS. Tell us what you're thinking, what you're hearing. Tag us in those tweets. Tag us in those Instagrams. And slide in our DMs. Like, we'll be happy to answer questions or bring it up on the show if we need to. Especially if it's a great conversation that we didn't hit on. Also, we had Jessica yesterday, and we have another guest coming on with us Thursday. I'm getting my days mixed up. We have another guest coming up on Thursday, and we are so excited to announce to you guys that we will be having the famous James Ryan. If you didn't watch him on his Big Brother season with Janelle and Kaser, then you're definitely watching him on Twitter because he has some amazing tweets. He's been in our tweet of the day a few times. He is straight savage on Twitter, dropping us with all the sass and all of the great commentary on everything going on the feed. So we'll have him on Thursday at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. So be sure to tune in. Tomorrow we'll talk a little bit about the episode or what we expect to see on the episode. So be sure to tune in tomorrow. But Thursday we'll have on James Ryan. And we look forward to seeing you guys then. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're liking what you see. Bye, guys.